a prisoner who had been given a life sentence. He had assumed that he would die in jail. But something happened inside the jail that made him plan to escape from prison. Did he even collect a diamond to escape from jail? What happened to that prisoner? Was he finally able to escape from jail? Friends, today I have brought you the story of a jailbreak. The name of this movie is The Escape. So let's start. The story begins in a prison where a large number of prisoners are kept together. The security system there is extremely strict so that no prisoner can escape. Among these prisoners is Frank Perry, a convict serving a life sentence and imprisoned for about 14 years. Frank had another prisoner friend named Liam Hedge, who was his cellmate. Liam was sentenced to 20 years and due to living together for a long time. A very good friendship developed between them. But today, as Liam completes his 20 years, he will be released. Some new prisoners are brought to this jail, most of whom were young. The old prisoners arrange entertainment to welcome these new inmates. Frank also gets his new cellmate, James Lacey, who is not very old. It is seen that Frank has received a letter written by his daughter. He had been writing these letters for the last 14 years while in jail, but he had never received an answer to any letter before. The letter that arrives this time states that his daughter has died due to drug addiction. Hearing this news, Frank feels great pain and becomes anxious. He couldn't save his daughter. Not knowing what to do, he then decides to escape from jail. He wanted to see his daughter one last time. Frank worked in the laundry in jail. One day, as he was about to put clothes in the washing machine, he noticed cold air coming from an air ventilator, which he had never seen before. Frank thought that if he could go up through this path, he might be able to escape. But because his body had become heavy, getting out through the ventilator might have been difficult for him due to his long stay in jail. Frank had two other close friends, Lenny Drake and Brody. Frank informs them about the ventilator in the laundry room. Brody says that the ventilator cover is very strong and cannot be easily broken. Then Lenny says that he will try to break it. Lenny was a boxer, so he had a lot of strength. Frank then informs that Lenny has the blueprint design of the jail through which they can know where everything is. Lenny listens to all their talks and agrees to the decision to escape from jail. One day, they sit down to plan. Frank says that first, they have to go to the laundry. There are a total of 9 roads to get to the laundry and 3 guards patrol there. Lenny suggests looking for another road. Frank says that besides these 3 roads, there is one more road to church inside the jail, from whose large hall room they can go straight to the laundry. The church is always locked. Frank says that one day a guard mistakenly left the key in the door, and he took an impression of the key. Frank gives that impression to Lenny so that he can make an exact duplicate key. The next problem is even. If they reach the laundry, what will they cut the air ventilator cover with? It was made of strong steel. Lenny then removes a rod from the chair in his room and tries to make a weapon that can cut the ventilator cover with it. But to make it perfectly, a diamond was needed, which was difficult to find in jail. However, Lenny knew where to find the diamond. The prisoners in the jail used to organize a boxing competition every week. One of the boxers was a very strong and terrifying boxer. A diamond was fixed in his tooth. If he could get that, Lenny's job would be done. Lenny then challenges that boxer. On the scheduled day of boxing, the competition between Lenny and the boxer begins. The boxer keeps hitting Lenny indiscriminately. At one point, Lenny falls to the ground from the beating. The boxer then celebrates. But Lenny gets up and hits the boxer's face with such a punch that his diamond-embedded tooth comes out. Lenny picks up that tooth. Even though Lenny lost the boxing match, the diamond he fought for came into his hands. After this, Lenny attaches that diamond tooth to the iron pipe he made, and it becomes a perfect weapon. With this, he can easily cut the steel cover of the ventilator. Now the 3 of them plan again who will do what. First, they will go to the church escaping everyone's notice, then open the lock of the church with the duplicate key and reach the laundry from there. Then they will cut the ventilator cover with Lenny's created diamond weapon and reach the pipe from there. Once they cross that pipe, they will find a tunnel that goes straight to the river. Once they reach there, they can escape through the river. But Lenny didn't know how to swim. Brody then says that if they don't know how to swim, there's no problem. There is another path, the railway track, which will take them to the metro station. Frank says this is a great idea because there they can easily get lost in the crowd of people. Brody says they must reach the station very early in the morning because once the train starts, there will be high voltage current on the railway line and they might die from an electric shock while escaping that way. So they must cross the railway line and reach the station before 5 a.m. All their planning is complete. But now it was time to put it into action. But trouble is created by another prisoner named Tony, who overhears their escape plan. He comes to Frank and starts to blackmail him. Tony says he must be given half a kilogram of drugs or else he will tell the warden everything. Tony was a drug addict. He had a brother Risa, who was a terrifying gangster. So Tony was not afraid of anyone in jail. Frank then gets an idea. There was a prisoner named Batista who previously worked with chemicals and could make drugs. Frank goes to Batista and tells him that if he can arrange half a kilogram of drugs for him, it will help him escape from jail. Batista is surprised at first but later agrees and makes the drugs for Frank. The next day, when Tony comes to Frank to take the drugs, Frank easily gives him the drugs. Tony does not leave from there and starts behaving badly with Frank's cellmate, Lacey. Tony gets on Lacey's bed and tries to have a physical relationship with him, which he had done several times before. This time, Lacey gets angry and gets up and starts hitting Tony indiscriminately. He hits Tony on the head several times with a chair and at one point goes to kill him by smothering him with a pillow. Frank then stops Lacey. Taking this opportunity, Tony escapes from the cell. But Lacey had hit him so badly that Tony loses his balance while coming down the stairs and falls down. And Tony dies right there. After this incident, Tony's brother Risa comes to Frank's cell and asks what happened to Tony, although Frank initially does not want to say anything. When Risa threatens to harm his daughter, Frank tells Risa everything to save his daughter's life. Risa then tells Frank to go to his cell with Lacey that very night. Frank then takes out his daughter's picture from the frame and gives it to Lacey, telling him to give it to Brody. Lacey doesn't understand everything. Frank then explains everything in detail to Lacey. He wanted to escape from jail to meet his daughter, and the other three also wanted to escape. But a little while ago, the news came that his daughter is not alive. He has no reason to go outside anymore, so there is no need to escape from jail either. But Lacey is young. He has a lot of time left in his life, so Lacey should spend the rest of his life outside with the Bradys, with the opportunity that has come to him today. Lacey understands Frank's intention. That night, according to the plan, Lenny, Brody, and Batista get out of the cell to escape. Frank stays in his cell. They first go to the church and reach the laundry from there. They cut the air ventilator cover and start looking for the tunnel. Seeing Lacey there, Brody gets angry and goes to hit him because he knew that Frank would never want to leave him behind. Seeing Lacey, Brody realizes that Lacey is like Frank's daughter. Brody then changes his mind. The five of them start moving towards the tunnel. Lenny starts cutting the air ventilator with the diamond weapon. It takes a lot of time to cut, and the work was quite difficult. Within a while, Lenny cuts the cover. Slowly, they move toward the tunnel through the ventilator. Inside the tunnel, they see a well, which was so deep that nothing could be seen below. Brody sets a cloth on fire and throws it down. They actually wanted to see how deep the well was. The bottom of the well was exactly like a door. The well was filling up due to water entering from above. They quickly open the door and enter there. After moving a little further, they see a strong wall there. This wall was not easy to break. They realize that they will not be able to get out by crossing the wall and also cannot go back. They fall into great danger. Lacey then expresses despair. Hearing this, Lenny gets very angry and goes to hit Lacey, but he hits the wall instead of Lacey. They understand that the wall is not that strong. It can be broken with one attempt. Lenny and Batista try to break the wall together. They break through the wall and create a tunnel. Then Brody enters the tunnel and starts taking out the soil from inside. But at that moment, the soil collapses on him. Frank then understands the matter, enters the tunnel, and starts looking for Brody by removing the soil. At one point, he finds Brody, but Brody dies right there, trapped under the soil. Then they cross the tunnel and come to the other side of the wall. Frank is very saddened by the death of his friend. They do not want to leave Brody's dead body there, so they set off again, carrying Brody's corpse on their shoulders. After a while, they reach the old station. This station had been closed for many years. They find a map there and understand that they have come to the right place. But from there, they have to reach the main station within an hour, because once the train starts, electricity will flow on the railway line. They place Brody's dead body on a bench there, put a torch beside it, and move toward the station. After getting close to the station, some guards spot them. They then have no choice but to quickly jump into the tunnel water and swim from there to the railway line. Then they start running along the railway line. Moving along this railway line will take them to the metro station. But suddenly, Batista's leg gets stuck in the rail track. He couldn't free his leg in any way. Lenny then goes to help Batista. But suddenly, a train comes there and crushes the two of them and leaves. As a result, the two of them die right there. Now, only Lacey and Frank remain alive. They start walking again. Suddenly, Frank stumbles and falls, and he injures his abdomen. Frank sees that a lot of blood is coming out of his abdomen, and he is in great pain. Still, they reach the metro station with great difficulty. There, the two of them change their clothes and are finally very happy to have escaped from jail. Frank then tells Lacey to go ahead alone. Lacey, however, stays with Frank and then leaves from there. Then Frank starts climbing the stairs. But suddenly, he feels like someone is pulling him from behind. Frank then sees that he is sitting in Riza's room in the prison. Suddenly, Riza stabs him in the abdomen from behind. Riza stabbed Frank in the abdomen to avenge his brother's death. This means that Frank's time in jail, the escape. And having no reason to escape all of this was an imagination of his brain, which is called hallucination. Hallucination is an experience where the body perceives something through various senses, touch, smell, taste, that is not actually true. Frank had a strong desire to escape, and that desire led to such an illusion in his mind. But nothing like that actually happened, and those who wanted to escape did manage to escape. Then the scene is shown where 4 people were trying to escape through the tunnel. They go through the ventilator after descending into the tunnel. Meanwhile, Frank sacrifices his life for his friend. When Riza stabs Frank in the abdomen for revenge, the guards are busy checking the other cells. They don't get time. They escape from jail right under their noses. When Frank dies, he dreams that his daughter is watching Frank from over the bridge by the river. The two of them hold his hand. Frank then thinks to himself, he is reborn. He will be happy with this daughter again in the next life. In reality, one does not get everything in life, and many strange things happen in life even without asking for them. So friends, you can tell us how you liked today's story in the comments. If you liked the story, please subscribe and stay with us. Thank you.